Today we're going to talk about making patterns for bowls and platters. I'm going to use some string, some scissors, a ruler, a pencil, and I have some paper and some push pins. They're attached to a piece of sheetrock, but sometimes I work directly on wood, any surface that you can get a push pin to stick to. So let's talk about making a pattern for a bowl first. I usually start off with a paper pattern and test it out, and if I like it, I'll make a copy of it on something a little more rugged and durable. For example, this is tar paper used as roofing material. You can buy a roll of that and it will last you years and years and years for making patterns. So for the bowl, it's a matter of making an outer ring and an inner ring, and then you can decide how much to cut away and get that to stand up into a bowl form. And it's a great way to make stacking bowls that match and will fit together. And you can experiment this way, experiment with different size feet, different size width, and decide if you want to cut a lot out and make it stand up a bit taller like a noodle bowl, or cut less out and have it lay down more like a pasta bowl. So to make a pattern for this, I start off with some string, and I decide ahead of time roughly what size bowl I'm going to be looking for. So this particular one, got this worked right up to the edge here. So this particular one, I've got my push pin here, and I have about 6 inches worth of string here. So when this is done, it should be a full 12 inches in diameter. But by the time we stand it up and by the time the clay shrinks, it's not going to be that big. So we'll start here just with this string. And I have multiple knots tied in it, and you'll see in a second what that's all about. So I'm going to start with my outer ring. So this is just a good versatile way to make circles any size you want. Sometimes we spend a lot of time digging through, our kitchen or studio space, whatever, looking for something that we can trace, like a bat or something, but it's hard to find something exactly the size you want. So this is a good way you can control it and adjust this as you see fit. So now I want to make another ring using the same pin so that the outer ring and inner ring are matched up. In this case, I've got one knot at 6 inches and one knot at 3 inches. So I'm just going to put this in my 3-inch ring. So there we go. So I would just cut this out, cut a line here, and then this is going to be a pattern for one of the sets of bowls that we're going to make. The other time that I use this string and push pin method is to make ovals for platters. Ovals are a trickier shape to make, especially freehand. And so here's a little trick you can use to get just what you want. We're going to take 2 push pins here, and in this case I have these 9 inches apart. Play around anywhere 8, 9, 10 inches. You can play around and see what kind of different shapes that makes. And this string was 24 inches, and then I've tied it, so it makes it about 12 inches long. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to wrap the string around the push pins, and then we're going to just gently, one off a little bit there. I'm going to move these over just a little bit. All right, trying to stay on my board here. All right, let's try this again. There we go. Now we're staying on the board that time. Let's see if I'm going to run into my bowl. I hope not. Nope. There we go. We've got room. So this is a great way to make an oval form to use for patterns or anything else. I'm going to do the same thing because I want to mark where I want to put my foot ring on. On my platters, I like my foot ring to be about 1.5 inches or so inside. If you make your foot ring way inside and leave too much hanging off the edge, it can slump in the kiln. So I go for about that 1.5 inch line. So what I can do now is take this exact same string, and I can measure 1.5 inches and then just tie an extra knot. So I've already got this string ready to go. we'll just tie a second knot 1.5 inches. And what that's going to do then, it'll make an exact matching oval inside right where I want the foot ring to go. So kind of double check that. Okay, so I've added a second knot there. I'm going to put this back on and make an inner oval shape to indicate, just as a place to line up our foot ring. So I'm going to gently run that around. And then I can keep in mind, yeah, that came out about 1.5 inches. But the nice thing about this method is you can move these knots around and absolutely play with it, have fun, make the kind of patterns that you want, and then you make sure that the platter is going to fit in your cupboard, for example. Will it fit in your dishwasher? Is it the shape that you want? And it's a great way to make matching sets again, so that you'll make sure that they're stackable. So play around with that, and then once you've tested a pattern, if you decide you like it, you can transfer it to tar paper. It holds up a little bit better. This is Tyvek. This is just an envelope. Sometimes you get junk mail in these Tyvek envelopes, and you can cut patterns out of that. And this is waterproof, and this tar paper is waterproof, so they won't warp over time working with clay. So if you develop a pattern that you love, that's some options to make it a little more durable and rugged, so that you can use it over and over again to make matching sets. So that's a pretty quick way to make some patterns. I'm going to go ahead and cut these out and have fun playing with this at home. Make some shapes that you like, and we'll look at the next video on how to apply these to clay.